George Washington was an American political leader, military general, statesman, and founding father who served as the first president of the United States from 1789 to 1797. He led the Continental Army to victory in the American Revolutionary War, and he played a key role in the development of the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. How much do you know about America's first president? Let's find out.
It's time for Minute Distinctions.
The year is 1732. There were 13 colonies along the east coast of what is now called the United States of America. First colony to be established was Virginia over 120 years ago. However, the 13th colony, Georgia, was just established this year as a felon colony for people who couldn't pay their debts. The colonies were roughly divided into three sections: New England, Middle colonies, and the Southern colonies. The northernmost of the Southern colonies is, again, our first colony, Virginia. It was here, in the plantation-filled, slave labor-dependent colony that George Washington was born. He was the firstborn of 6 children and had 3 older siblings from his father's previous marriage. He was raised in a wealthy family but lost his father at the age of 11, and most of the inheritance went to his older siblings. George, however, received a smaller estate and slaves who worked the farm. At the age of 16, Washington became a surveyor. Being a landowner, he became interested in surveying as a way to expand and improve his own land holdings, and also to generate additional income since his land holdings were relatively modest. In 1751, George accompanied his favorite older brother Lawrence on a trip to Barbados. While in the Caribbean, George came down with smallpox. He survived and left the island with lifelong immunity, but the disease probably left him unable to father children and with a first-hand conviction about the dangers of the disease. In 1752, George's older brother Lawrence died, and Washington appeared to lose interest in surveying as a profession and pursued a military career instead. Around this time, the French and Indian War, also known as the 7 Years' War, had begun. It is outside the scope of this video, but to summarize, France and Britain were always getting into a war somewhere since they were European neighbors and colonized lands near each other. Washington was a lieutenant colonel in the Virginia militia, which was obviously fighting on the side of the British, and led a number of expeditions against the French and their Native American allies. Throughout the war, Washington proved himself to be a skilled and capable leader, earning the respect of both his fellow officers and the colonial government. He was promoted to the rank of colonel in 1755, but resigned at the end of 1758, frustrated with the lack of support from the British government and the colony of Virginia. Washington returned to his home and farm at Mount Vernon. He won the election to the Virginia House of Burgesses, which is similar to a modern-day state senate. He took his seat in February 1759, 1 month after his wedding to a wealthy widow, Martha Custis. In 1761, he inherited Mount Vernon when his sister Anne died. Through hard work, careful management, and strategic investments, he expanded the size of Mount Vernon and made it one of the most successful and profitable plantations in Virginia. However, the passage of the Townshend Act by the British government made it difficult to maintain profitable trade, since most plantation owners in the colonies were forced to sell their goods in Britain, which reduced competition and therefore profit. This and other taxes led to the colonists rebelling and declaring their independence. This is the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. During the war, Washington served as commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. He led the colonial forces to victory over the British in 1781 and was instrumental in the surrender of the British General Charles Cornwallis at Yorktown. Washington's leadership during the war was widely praised, and he became a national hero. After the war, Washington returned to his home in Mount Vernon, where he lived as a private citizen for several years. However, he was soon called upon to lead his country once again. In 1787, he was elected president of the Constitutional Convention, which was held in Philadelphia to revise the Articles of Confederation. Washington was a strong supporter of the new Constitution and was elected as the first president of the United States in 1789. As president, he worked to establish the new government and to build a strong, unified nation. He also worked to establish friendly relations with other countries, and he helped to negotiate the Treaty of Paris, which ended the Revolutionary War. Washington's presidency was marked by his efforts to establish the new government and to promote unity among the states. He also sought to keep the country out of foreign conflicts and to establish a strong, stable economy. He was re-elected president in 1792, but he decided to retire from office after his second term. After leaving office, Washington returned to his home in Mount Vernon, where he lived as a private citizen once again. He died on December 14, 1799 at the age of 67. His death was widely mourned, and he is remembered as one of the most important figures in American history. If you like this video, please check out our video on the American Revolution, where we dive into more detail about this seminal moment in history. Please like and subscribe for more great content. Till next time.